So many people in the fandom are waiting for the return of Michael Myers and thinking about all the possibilities and the theories on how it's going to happen. Well, I got an idea. And I mean, hell, I might as well just go grab his mask and bait him down the street so he can get his ass kicked. No, not going to do that. But I got something better. Let's talk about it. What's going on, guys? We're going to be talking about the ideas of how Halloween is going to be brought back. We know about all of the information that's been coming out, how there's a bidding war for the rights, and how we could possibly get Michael Myers on the big screen and also the small screen. Although I've got some ideas about the small screen as far as the streaming show and stuff like that. I really do think that Michael should be theatrical, and he does not need to be on streaming, at least not right now. But there are ways to do a Halloween TV show, so I'll get into that as well. But before I do that, don't forget to hit the like button. It helps to support the channel, and I'd appreciate it. And if you're not subscribed to the Night Watch Zone, if you're a fan of horror, if you're a fan of Halloween, this is the place for you. And it's a fantastic community. So please hit the subscribe button and join us so that we can all enjoy what's to come from Michael Myers, The Shape. So let's get into this, guys. Some fans, and I've had it in comments, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to do this video. We have some fans that are still in denial, that still can't believe that Halloween is coming back. Now, there are some folks that are tired of Halloween. They're thinking, just let it go, let it be done. We've had 45 years. He got killed and ends, and it's over. And I, back of my mind, I keep hearing that scene in Halloween 5 when Loomis is hitting Michael and he's die,
Die! 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 Michael! Ah! Die!
die, Michael, die. Just hitting him over and over again, just praying for him to be dead. Next thing you know, we're gonna have people just chanting, "Evil dies tonight." But no, seriously, short of all the different ways that Michael has been tried to be taken out, and even the great John Carpenter himself didn't want Michael to come back. I mean, hell, he got killed at the end of Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 when we had Michael famously talking. I mean, there have been so many ways that people have tried to kill Michael. I mean, if I can go over and grab some magic stones and just make him freeze and then it's over, then that could work as well. You guys get the point I'm trying to make. There have been so many different ways that they've tried to kill him. And even with Halloween Ends basically grinding him up, that is not the end. And we know that. So he's going to come back. Now, the question is how? There's a lot of different ideas. And I like a lot of the ideas that I've been hearing, some of them from you guys, about how they could bring Michael Myers back on the big screen. But here's my take on how it could be done. And I really do think there is just a few ways that the audience would be on board with. Okay. I truly believe that we can't just rely on the characters from the old movies. We did that with this trilogy to varying degrees of success. Jamie Lee Curtis was able to take her bow, and we also had other characters that they brought back, like Lindsay and Tommy Doyle and so forth, and even Loomis, in Halloween Kills. So to me, we can't rely on that. Now, I've been pretty vocal about the whole idea of bringing Danielle Harris back, and I do think that that's kind of like an in-between thing, because I think Danielle Harris would be a really good idea because of her character in the franchise, Jamie Lloyd, and also her connection with the fandom. And she's recognizable, and they could do a really good story with it. But that is not looking likely either. So here's my thing. The Halloween franchise has had multiple timelines. Some people say it's 6, some people count 7, 8. I've even heard some people say 10, depends on how you look at it. And some of it is timelines based upon how you want to watch the movies, right? Okay, so we've already been way out of the whole idea of continuity. So, with that being said, we can start our own new timeline. And I think that that's the way to go. And here's the reason why. Now, hold on with me for a second here. The reason that we want to do that is because we do want to unhitch ourselves from the past as much as we can. Now, there's two different ways to do this. You can do this where you keep Halloween 78 as canon. Okay, the events of Halloween 78 happen, and of course, at the end of the film, he escapes. Now, you could start a brand new movie right after that, and it doesn't have to do anything with Laurie Strode. If you wanted to, you could reference her or whatever, but Jamie Lee Curtis is not coming back in this new Halloween film, which presumably would be a trilogy. I would imagine that any of the studios that are fighting over the rights to Halloween, they're going to go for a trilogy. They see the money and they're going to go for a trilogy. So we're not going to have Laurie Strode come back into this film. And I've talked about this before in live streams and other things. If you wanted to still have Loomis as a part of the story, you could do that. You get Tom Jones Jr. and you kind of get everything situated, and you could do that. It has to be done respectfully, though. And I would be a little nervous in the sense because I'm such a big fan of the character of Loomis, and I'm a big fan of Donald Pleasance and his portrayal of the character, especially over the course of the films, the arcs that he went through. So I think that although that would be neat to do, there could be some trouble in that. So in my opinion, you go with a whole new story. You just go into some brand new characters. Now, the other side of that is you do this whole new Halloween film and you don't even have 78 happen. Now, I know some people are thinking, that's crazy. Why would you do that? Oh my God, it's the greatest of all time. I know it is. But again, we're trying to move Halloween into a new direction, and so many people in the fandom, including myself to a degree, and I can understand others that are more strongly about it, feel more strongly about it, they don't want to rely on the old characters anymore. They're tired of the old characters, or they want to have new characters. So that's why I'm thinking that we have this brand new timeline with new characters, and we can either do it one of two ways. We can either have 78 as canon, or we don't. And as far as Michael Myers, we don't have to get into all of the things that happened after he killed Judith. If we erase 78, we don't have to get into all those different types of things. We can start something new. He escapes, or maybe it's something even more crazy that happens. And then next thing you know, he's terrorizing Haddonfield. Haddonfield should once again be this small town. I think it should take place in the 70s, because if you have it in the modern day, you're going to always run into the idea of technology. You've got cell phones, you've got, the internet, you've got all these different things, cameras everywhere, all those different types of things. So how does Michael stay hidden? Now, the new trilogy was able to kind of sidestep a lot of that, and I think they did a pretty good job of it. But to me, the big key to all of this is what they did in Halloween Kills with the recreation scene. That right there showed you that we could do a Halloween film with that type of aesthetic, that type of atmosphere, right? Now, again, you don't have to have 78 be canon, or you could choose to make it canon and go off with brand new characters. That's to me the best way to do it. You have it set back in the 70s, and you have that atmosphere, you have that dynamic. You can still get a young Michael Myers. We need a young Michael Myers. So if you get someone like Aaron Armstrong, who was in the trilogy, then that would be great. He's at the right age. You can play into his youth for these 3 movies, and of course the character being young, you don't have to worry about an expiration date like we did with the David Gordon Green trilogy, which, by the way, not an issue to me because I think James Jude Courtney was money. So there you go with that. But you have to have the right atmosphere. Story-wise, we have to bring it back to 78. Story-wise, I mean, as far as the feel of it. Stalking, around the corners, behind the trees, in the closet, down the hall, in the shadow. Those are the types of things that I think would really solidify the fan base again. I think that's what they want to see from Michael Myers.
See anything you like?
You're goddamn right.
And we got little pieces of it in the new trilogy, little pieces of it. Some pieces of it in 2018. Obviously, we saw the recreation scene in Kills. There were a couple of moments in Kills that, it was a little bit, of a reminder of 78, and even in Halloween Ends. But we want a whole movie where you have that type of aesthetic, you have that type of atmosphere. He's creeping, he's stalking, he's killing, he's gone. That's what we want to see. I think of movies, and to me, someone that would be really good with this type of property, you got to have a director that has that type of style. Someone that can kind of transport you back in time, take their time with a movie. And that's the other thing too. We've got to kind of pull back a little bit. I think 2018 was probably the best combination of old school and modern, right? As far as Michael and what he was doing, as far as his kills and the setups and so forth. Kills, Halloween Kills, that is, went right off the cliff. I mean, he's fighting a town, he's being shot 60 times. I mean, it was absolutely crazy. I loved it because Michael had never been so badass. I loved it, but no, we've got to dial it back. He's got to be the shape again. He's something that is whispered. He's something that is feared. He's something that you see out of the corner of your eyes. And that is what is scary about him. But if you have a director like a Ty West, I think Ty West could do a really good job with this, because we've seen how he can transport you back in time, the way he transported you back in time with something like X or even Pearl. It's so reminiscent of something like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, or even Psycho, a little bit with Pearl. And I think that someone like him would be really, really good. Obviously, I've talked about Mike Flanagan, who definitely has the chops to create a dynamic and a story that can really stretch out the tension. That's the thing about 78 that was so good, and why 2018 was fairly successful, because you were able to stretch out that tension with Michael, but you have to have the characters to follow through, and then see what happens when they are in that situation with Michael Myers. So I'm big on like Ty West doing something with a new Halloween film or trilogy. Again, Mike Flanagan is obviously a great choice as well. And that, I think, would be the best way to bring Michael Myers back. It's a new film, presumably a trilogy. He is basically back to the 78 roots. He's young, and he's stalking, and he's creepy, and it's scary again. That's the other thing too. It's scary. We don't need to have these fight scenes where he's fighting multiple people and taking them out. Yeah, it's cool, but it really it takes you out of what made Michael so special in the 78 film, and even in Halloween 2, the 1981 film. So that's what I think we should do with Michael coming back. As far as for streaming, I think whatever they decide to do on streaming, it should be somehow connected to the films. Maybe you have some through lines of the story. And I think that in the film, not only is Michael back to being the boogeyman, what kids are afraid to talk about and stuff like that, but the town itself, it's a small town. It's a creepy town. And I think if you play into that, that could also really make the film special like it did in 78. When you have these stories about these other characters like Charlie Bowles, something like that, you could utilize those as supporting angles and characters, and you could let those things bleed into a streaming show and have that continuity. That's the thing. You got to have a bridge between the movies and the streaming show. And I think that's what would make it very special, to watch it, in a streaming format and then be ready to see these movies come out in the theater. I think it would be a win-win because Michael Myers is as popular as he's ever been. This is the time to do it. We're almost at the 50th anniversary and everybody's on board. Malika Akkad is on board. I think the fan base is on board, and this is what we need to do. So that's just my thoughts on how I would bring the Halloween franchise back, doing it as a trilogy, bringing it back to its roots, a brand new timeline, and you can either angle it off of 78 as canon, but no Laurie Strode, no returning characters except for maybe Loomis, or you can have 78 not even have happened. A brand new timeline that is just basically going off the fact that he is Michael Myers. He killed Judith Myers when he was a little boy, and then boom, you start there. All new characters, still in Haddonfield, but all new characters. And you could really, you'd have a lane that is so wide open for a creative arc for this character and those involved. So anyways, guys, that's my thoughts on what to do with it. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Do you like that idea? Do you have a better idea? Do you want to see it, angle off of one of the other films? Do you think that it's over and that they can't come up with something new for the Halloween franchise to move it forward as we head to 50 years and beyond for the franchise? Let me know in the comment section down below. We can have a discussion about it, as we always do. And also, if you're a horror fan, hell, if you're a movie fan, if you're a Halloween fan, this is the place for you. The Nightwatch Zone is a place for you, and we have a fantastic community. So hit the subscribe button, join us, and we'll have a lot of fun as we head into Halloween season proper. So I'll catch you guys later. If you're watching this, if you're listening to this, you are the Nightwatch. Peace.